Hello. Thank you for listening to and watching You Had Options. This episode, I have Mike and Chris from the very good record label Born Losers Records. You might remember them from, we've had some guests who are on their label. CD Ghost, most recently, and Cathedral Bells. Go check out those episodes. Yeah, we just talk about the releases that are coming up for Born Losers. Talk about, the history of Born Losers, kind of how they operate. Talk about DJing. We cover so much stuff. I really enjoy talking with Chris and Mike. Hope you enjoy. Go find them on Instagram at Born Losers Records. Yeah, go support them and buy music from them. Good talk. Check out all the artists on their label. Go find at youhadoptions on Instagram and Twitter, all that stuff. There's merch at thehandsomescoundrels.com/store. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for listening and watching. Okay, we are ready. If you guys are ready.
Totally. Yep.
Mike and Chris, how are y'all doing? Thanks for joining me, by the way, too.
Wonderful. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Born Losers Records. You guys are the mega minds behind that.
Yeah.
Y'all started in 2016. Is that right? 2015?
2016, yeah. I mean, it was a slow burn, though. It was very much like, are we going to do this at all? To now, it's like consumes everything about our lives.
Was there a release or a turning point that you're like, okay, now we got to switch to this is our full thing?
You might have heard of it. It was the novel coronavirus, COVID-19.
I've heard people talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a little thing that happened that kind of.
Well, that wasn't a release of ours, but.
Oh my God. This is a You Had Options exclusive, Born Losers.
But that kind of threw us into it. I was teaching, booking shows, touring. Mike was touring, working in a restaurant, and booking shows at points, DJing, and like everything just crushed down. And it was like, what do we do? Like, we could pause everything, or we could at least just throw ourselves into this, and it worked.
Had y'all played music before, or just knew each other through the scene, or how did y'all decide to make a label together?
Let you take that one.
Well, I've been in bands kind of, I don't know, it sounds corny to say professionally, but semi-professionally, I suppose.
Yeah.
Since I was like 16. And at the time, Chris had been managing that band of mine. So the relationship kind of grew through there. Long story short, all of those bands kind of like fractured into other bands. And then eventually we were the only two left. So yeah, it's always kind of been something we wanted to do, and just took everything we've learned through that 10 plus years of dealing with labels and dealing with bands and artists and all of that, and kind of made our mission statement out of what we liked and didn't like from just that entire experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like, especially playing shows and touring and knowing the innards of like how releases are put out and just all that stuff, you know, you gotta experience it, right? You can't like, well, I just got money, so I'm just gonna fucking, you know, if somebody comes along and is like, I've just got a ton of money and I just throw it around, like you're just gonna be wasting money, you know.
I've also worked with a label like that, and it didn't go great.
Yeah,
it's, I don't know. Like Mike said, it was kind of just like the culmination of everything that we learned that we thought was good and everything that we hated about the experiences with other labels, and tried to get rid of the bad ones and maximize the good traits of the labels and companies that we worked with. And, you know, honestly, I do think just like when we're talking to bands and, you know, giving advice, or, you know, some bands are more successful than we ever were that are on our label. But like when we do talk to them and we talk to people, I think it helps that we can say like, yeah, we've spent months on the road sleeping on floors and dirty, you know, whatever. It's not just like, go do this. Like, trust me, it'll work. It's like, there's experience behind it.
Yeah, for sure. And like, you don't know, you might think for some releases like, we're just going to put this out and see what happens and it explodes. Or you might think, you know, this release is going to be a sure thing, and then it shits the bed. I don't know. Is like whenever you guys are putting out releases now, do you need a commitment from the band to be like, all right, you guys got to go on the road for like and promote this for like months or whatever?
Well, we always love when that happens. We understand that it's not always feasible for a multitude of reasons, but
right.
Our label, for better or for worse, really kind of, I don't want to say take off because that sounds whatever, but it picked up significantly during the pandemic, and that was a time when obviously nobody could tour. Mm-hmm. So for the first time, we were signing bands sight unseen based on the quality of the music, and we were just, you know, taking it from there, because obviously we couldn't expect anybody to go out and tour. But
right. Yeah.
I think it's now it really helps just with the pure accessibility of music and how everybody has everything at their fingertips. Just being out there touring and playing and building an engaged audience really goes a really long way when you're trying to keep the life of the campaign alive, because every single day, I heard a statistic that's like, I'll probably get this totally wrong, but like 100,000 songs are uploaded to Spotify a week or a month or whatever it is.
It's way more than that. You butchered the statistic. I don't know what it is, but I know it's like
5 songs a week are uploaded on Spotify. It's crazy.
Yeah,
right. Big committee of people it goes through different layers of people have to listen to it and make sure it's good. And there's a story being told, you know.
Yeah. But we, you know, when we started, like, we would not even consider signings, which is funny because we were like no one, but like we wouldn't even consider signing someone unless we saw the show, and then we'd be like, oh fuck, that's like a real show. Like that was an amazing experience. Like, let's get behind this. And like Mike said, it was just when it came down to 2020 and we wanted to keep going, we had to just ditch that part of our philosophy, which was scary. And it was interesting because there was like a entire group of projects and bands that formed during that time period that had never ever played a show. Like we signed, Total Rubbish was born out of the quarantine, and it was like just a group of girls that wanted to make a punk rock album, and they did. And then like things started opening up, and it was like, oh boy, how's this going to go? But you know, they took it to the stage, and they grew, and that within a year or so they were playing with the Dead Milkmen and shit. Like, it was pretty fucking wild.
Damn.
So yeah, it's been cool. Things have worked out.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's such a weird time for music, and like people trying to just put out stuff to have like a TikTok song or something. Like, I don't know. Like,
Probably put that on Do Not Disturb.
but do you guys, is that stuff you guys think about, of like trying to get on whatever, like have a viral song, or like, I don't know.
It's not something we look for, but when we have a release, I definitely comb through it to see if there is a moment that I can, try to, I don't know, manufacture a moment like that out of something. But it's not, I'm never like listening to a release being like, this is going to be a TikTok release. Like,
yeah.
But I don't know. We've had like countless conversations, even when we're just sitting around, just like bouncing ideas off each other. But it always comes back around to the fact that those viral moments aren't ever seemingly done by the band or the label. It's just some random person or group of people that make it into that moment. Like, who's the giant 60s band that had the fucking Ocean Spray thing happen, and then they like started charting again? Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah. Fleetwood Mac. Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac didn't make that moment happen.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
well, they might have paid for it. Who knows?
Who is that? Yeah. Big cranberry juice and big industry labels there. Yeah.
And then like we've also had like some bands that had some of those moments, and then they were like, "Oh, let's do it again with this track," and I'm like,
"You can't." Yeah.
You can never predict it.
I don't know how to do that. Like, someone made that happen.
Yeah.
Or organically somehow. It's weird.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are still grasping with understanding that, because this band is viral on TikTok. What does that mean? Or how did they do it? And it's, the band probably has no idea. Just like some person picked it up and used it, and then it was a compelling clip of music, and other people started using it, and then it gets involved in trends and all that. And
it's also hard to follow. It's an interesting thing. Like, I don't know how you ended up finding us. What group of artists drew you to emailing Mike? I'm not sure, but like, there's like that band, Yacht Club. Like, Yacht Club had a huge TikTok moment, and then that you could see it, like it went over to Spotify and into his social medias, and like to like a full touring career. And then there's other artists that have like these big TikTok moments, and their songs don't go anywhere. Like, they live natively in TikTok, and then they never go over to people actually listening to the full song. So it's, I don't know. It's still like the Wild West a little bit, at least in my brain. Like, I haven't put the law down to it.
Yeah.
We don't understand it, honestly.
Mike, can you move into Chris a little bit closer? Yeah. Intimate. No, but yeah, I found y'all, I think I got super heavy into Drab Majesty.
Okay.
And like, I think on Spotify, I was just listening to Drab Majesty, like radio or whatever. And then Corinne was on there. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, this sounds cool. Let me check that out. And then, and then went to like MIDI Memory, and now Matt from MIDI Memory, they stayed at the house whenever they were playing Cathedral Bells show. Cool. So yeah.
You just did an episode with CD Ghost, right?
Yeah, and I did I had them on. Yeah, Matt put me in touch with them. Yeah, I was gonna say there seems to be like with y'all's releases, there seems to be like not every band on y'all's label is like the same genre or whatever, but there's similarities that kind of move through each group. And so I can tell that there's like a lot of thought between, okay, we're going to put out this band, or there, it's not, it doesn't seem like it's just, yeah, y'all are just putting out whatever. Y'all actually like enjoy the bands. So,
yeah, we really like songs, and like, I think you tell if you listen to any artist on our label, they just have songs. They write good songs, and it's incredibly hard to do.
Yeah. There's like also, I don't know, I've described it a bunch of times, but there's like a very, this kind of dumbs it down a little too far, but there's like a Venn diagram between Mike and I of stuff that we really enjoy. Where like, I listen to a ton of singer-songwriter stuff. Mike listens to a bunch of like the synthy or gothy stuff. Somewhere in the middle, we both really enjoy punk rock. And then in the middle of all that, there's just like an understanding of, like he said, like it boils down to like the song. So like, even if it's not necessarily my primary genre, he can bring it to the table and be like, yo, this is really fucking good. And then usually there's an agreement of something that happens there where it's like, oh yeah, like we both have to sign off on every release essentially. And every once in a while, one of us brings something to the table that the other one doesn't completely agree on. And then it's like a sticking point for months where it's like, did you see what happened with that band that you said no to?
Was there a big release y'all passed up on that you would want to say?
Not that I think.
I mean, there's that band that you were like, really, I don't even know if we actually had a chance for it, but he wanted to go after it at least. And then like, I can't, Magdalena Bay or something. And like, he showed me like a video like 2 years later. He's like, look, they're fucking playing at Red Rocks. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I sent him Magdalena Bay probably like 4 years ago, maybe. They were like super tight. And he's like,
yeah, it's
me.
Yeah, you just never know,
You don't, and you can't beat yourself up because there's no way to ever predict anything. So
no, yeah, and one album, the Anthony Green solo album is like a perfect album.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's so good.
Thank you.
Were y'all big into Circa Survive and Say Us In? And
it's
a big fan of Anthony Green.
It's an interesting story. So like Anthony lives like a block from me.
Okay.
And like we were actually really good friends with the guitar player from Circa Survive, Brendan. And for like years, like we had like this like shitty punk house that we kind of lived at. And he would just like stop by at like 2 a.m, 3, like, like whenever he was back from tour. And like, I think that's like how we became good friends. Cause I didn't really know who or what Circa Survive was. Like he'd just be like, yeah, I'm in a band. And I was like, cool, awesome. And like, eventually one day I like Googled it, like years into our friendship. I was like, holy fuck, he's playing in front of like a sea of people.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then like through that, I started seeing Anthony a lot at the gym. And I don't know, then we just became friends. He took us on tour, like our band, Suburban Living. And it just blossomed from there to like, actually it was another 2020 thing that really brought it together because I saw him post the first track from Fucking Whatever, which was his the group with Anthony and the 2 singers from Taking Back Sunday and the drummer from Group Love, and they just did like a COVID project. And I saw that he posted it and there was no label. And so I just texted him and was like, yo, what's going on? Because like, he's like, I don't know. Like, here's our manager. Reach out to him, see what happens. and it worked out, and like that kind of just like blossomed into, you know, doing the Sound of Animals Fighting, Anthony's solo record, and you know, there's possibly some more to come.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that Boom Done, the solo record, is so good. I like I was playing this stupid like lawn simulator game on Xbox where you just like cut the grass pretty much.
That is so fucking cool.
I don't know. I'm a software developer, so like nothing I do like exists. Like I can't put my hand on software or anything. So there's this weird like
Do you do like crop circles? Or you just straight up cut the grass and just get the job done?
I would just cut. Hey man, I was there to do a job. All right, I'm not messing around. Because you get points. You get points or money from like, you know, how much time it takes and whether it's, you know, accurate.
Fucking simulators.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I would just listen to that on repeat. But I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first time he sent like the finished record of that, I was like, if you like when you go front to back, you're like, you feel like you just watched like fucking, I don't know, like Schindler's List or some shit. Like it takes you on like an entire journey of like stressed out, depression, beautiful moments of like joy. Yeah. And you're like, you get done, you're like, what the fuck? That was insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful record though.
Yeah. It's like what you just said of just like, there's so many emotions like in that album.
Yeah.
So you guys are in Philly, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Have you guys both been there for a long time?
I've been there for about 10 years proper, but like I said, since we've been in bands for so long, we've been unofficial residents probably since 2006.
Yeah.
Just like in the community and seeing one way or another.
But outside, I mean, like we both grew up like 40 minutes outside of the city. So it's like, it was always the place that like, even when you didn't live there, that's where the shows were. That's where you went to go do stuff.
Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm in Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. Have you guys spent any time down here in the South?
We have. Yeah. I know it's not Birmingham, but we've played at the something tree a bunch of times. Bottle Tree?
Bottle Tree, yeah.
That was cool.
Where's that?
Yeah, that was in Birmingham. No, that was in Birmingham. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You know, Man or Astro Man? Remember that band?
Yeah.
The drummer, I think he either ran or owned Bottle Tree. And now he's got a new venue or a newer venue called Saturn here that like medium sized to bigger bands play. It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Is the Bottle Tree still there?
No, it's like a fancy barbecue place now.
Damn. Are the Airstream trailers still there?
I don't think so. I think they took them.
That was like
it's like the green room.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Awesome. And then you could pay like $10 or some shit to stay overnight if you wanted to for the band. It was great.
The most specific memory of that venue, we stayed overnight one time and there was just a little selection of books. And there was this biography of Tom Cruise called Cruise Control. I don't know why it just out in my head to this day. It was probably like 12 years ago. I didn't read it or anything, but
man.
Cover.
Yeah. Who gave the blurb of like, yeah, surely it was like John Travolta or somebody in the Church of Scientology had to give like the
L. Ron.
This is L. Ron right before his death. He was like Cruise Control, best book ever written. But what releases do y'all have coming up that y'all are excited about? Anything
Thursday, December 8th, we got the Sound of Animals Fighting, which is very exciting. First music in 14 years from them. and they're going on like a full tour in January, which is like a pretty big milestone for us because it's like one of the first times. Well, it is the first time a band of ours is headlining this capacity room.
Mm-hmm.
It's been like 3,000, depending on the city. Rich from that band at the beginning of the month just put out his first record from his solo project, Hospital Gown, which is like a hyper pop adjacent screamo. I mean, it's just all over the place.
Yeah, it's genre bending all
genre
over the
bending.
place.
So that was really cool. Work Wife put out a record last Friday, which is we're really excited about. And
Which is funny, like that, like right, like you can just see like that, like the taste right there. I don't know.
those three albums are all very different.
Yeah, they're like insanely different from each other.
Surf Rock is Dead this Friday, their first music in a couple years.
Yeah.
Sure.
Did you catch that? Actually, no, I think they might have been off the tour right then because he had COVID. But when they should have hit Birmingham with Cathedral Bells on this last tour, but I don't think they could make that show. But yeah, what I mean, what else we have coming up before is there anything else before the end of
No,
the
Surf Rock's our last proper album. We're starting a campaign next week. I think it's next week with this band from Belgium called Robbing Millions, who is like this crazy Frank Zappa meets Lemon Twigs meets MGMT orchestra. The musicianship is insane.
Yeah,
So we're excited about that. That's going to be pushing into 23, and then we're kicking off 23 with like a bunch of cool stuff coming up.
That's cool. Do you guys, so like, you know, do you guys try to put out vinyl like every release?
I think, we primarily do it. Sometimes it's when we get an EP from a band.
Mm-hmm.
We usually start with like tapes, and then a lot of times what we'll do is like if that band gives us a second EP, we'll put them both on vinyl, A and B side.
But yeah, most full length records that are delivered to us end up on vinyl.
Is vinyl production still shittily backlogged like an insane amount?
I think it's getting better, honestly.
Yeah.
My friend was just telling me about Memphis something. Apologies for not getting the name right. Something Memphis, and they just added like 500 more employees or whatever.
Shit.
I think like, I still don't think it's going to be a phenomenal turnaround, but I think it might be in a positive trajectory next year.
Yeah,
I just think more people getting involved,
people catching up with the demand.
Yeah, because I mean, there's only so many factories in the world, right?
And what people don't realize either is that there might be different factories, but there's only like one or two places that supply the actual vinyl. So
like the lacquer, or the pellets, or whatever.
So that's another thing, to consider.
It's
Have
weird.
You guessed?
Like a couple of years ago, there was like a huge article that came out on like, I don't know, Rolling Stone or whatever. I have no idea what platform it was, but there was like this huge thing. It was like, we're going to revolutionize like the vinyl industry with like this new process that'll make it fast, cheap, blah, blah, blah.
Was it the water etching?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was like vinyl turnaround is going to be like 3 weeks.
Yeah. And then
like,
it just like never
dead, nothing ever again.
Hell yeah.
Maybe like big vinyl, like put a hit out on them or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's and like, didn't one of the factories burn down, like in Belgium or somewhere, Croatia, somewhere?
Yeah, that was really sad. A lot of things too that are causing a lot of issues are just these major labels, just crushing the factories with these like pointless represses.
They got to put out the new Taylor version.
There's like ABBA, who I love. No disrespect to ABBA, they're amazing, but they're repressing every single record they've ever put out ever. They're doing thousands and thousands of copies of each, and it's like I saw something that might affect vinyl till like 2030, and it's like I can go to a record store and still find some dope ABBA records for like $3. Like, where is this demand for this new, ultra exclusive version that's going to be probably $40?
Yeah,
you know, and then like you get what's her name, Adele, who's doing like a double LP, 500,000 copies. That's 1 million records. You know, I think
when that came out, though, I forget what that statistic was. It was like they sold like 3% of what they fucking ordered.
Jesus Christ,
it was horrible.
God, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I wonder what the numbers are for like unsold records. Unsold vinyl.
I don't know how. I just don't know. I mean, I don't know what the demand is for fans of someone like Taylor Swift or Adele to be buying vinyl. I feel like, I don't mean to pigeonhole anybody, but that seems like that possibly could be a streaming crowd. I don't know.
Yeah, like how many of the how many Taylor Swift super fans have like the Macintosh, like, super high end amplifier, and needs this, got a 10 grand setup of speakers and amps to play there.
To play.
Yeah.
Although we do see people that buy, which is cool. We do see people that buy some of our vinyl and they don't even have record players.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's a cool collector's piece, I guess, especially because with all the cool variants, a lot of times the variants we do have to be handmade, so no two are alike. So you technically have the only one kind. That stuff's cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that goes to show, like, sometimes people just want to, like, people might just be fans of Born Losers and, like, not know who this artist is, but since y'all put it out, it's going to be
always
quality to it.
It's cool to see. So like I do a lot of like, I do most of the like printing of all the labels and all that shit for like all of like the mailing. And it's cool, like when I type in an email address to like pull up the order, and it's like they bought something that's like synth and something that's punk and something that like, but they like ordered like 10 different things from us over the years. I'm like, yes, that's working. The curation is working.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to curate. I mean, we take the artists we work with really seriously, and I think my goal has been like, just some of the labels I really respect. It's going to be good just because it's there, and that's always been like. It doesn't matter what kind of music you listen to. It's gonna be inherently enjoyable. That's kind of like our goal.
Yeah,
and you can see, people do they buy a bunch of different stuff, or sometimes we'll do like giveaways like for certain stuff, and we'll just toss in like 3 different releases and they're all wildly different, and they hit us back and like, these are all so great, so stuff like that's really rewarding.
Yeah. Nobody's like, nobody's looking at like, ooh, what is Sony putting out right now? Let's see what what is Universal Music Group? What are they up to right now?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a sense of like, I guess you guys are curators, kind of.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the most rewarding things this year is seeing everybody share their like Spotify Wrapped, and just having 2-3 artists of ours on just strangers' top 5 is like so cool.
Yeah. Also, what's cool is like the internal community that like, I don't know. We always talk like it's like a joke, but we're always like, oh, like starting the cult, like, and like, it's cool, like to see a lot of our artists interact with each other, like in real life, like online on social media, like they're
Going on
all
tour together.
they're like supporting each other. Everyone's like liking each other's stuff, sharing each other's stuff, and it's like, I don't know, it's really cool. It feels like something special, and I hope it can continue to grow in that fashion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, just having like being around the Cathedral Bells folks, they were talking like that they're, friends with CD Ghost, and they've done stuff with other people on the label. So it's seems like a cool little community.
And mixes and masters all of CD Ghost MIDI memory stuff.
Yeah.
And he mastered the most recent CD Ghost record and the Catherine Moan stuff.
Right. And Johnny Dynamite.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Johnny Dynamite's great too. I like him.
I was gonna say, did you get to that record? Because that record's fucking
it's good.
Sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if like Bats in the Woods is a banger. I think that's the first song I heard from him.
Yeah,
and I was like, damn, this fucking so catchy.
He's the new wave Bruce Springsteen.
I like it. Yeah, he's a good follow on Instagram too. I don't know. I like. It's fun to see
him live. It's well worth it. He's quite the performer. It's I feel like he's studied what the great performers of all time have done, and like when he's up there, it's like it could be 100 cap room, and you're like, am I at a fucking stadium right now? Like this dude is throwing down like energy like crazy. I love it.
I like, yeah. People, and people pick up on that stuff. It can be easy to be a turd. So I'm sure you guys been around music long enough and seen people, when they're like blaming the crowd, and shit, just bullshit like that. I was like, hey man,
blaming the sound.
Yeah. This fucking monitor sucks or whatever. Yeah. What? So Mike, you're the Synthier new wave for year guy.
Yeah, I just like, I'm a big record collector myself, so I mean my collection's pretty all over the place too, and I think that's just leans more to like the label itself, that Chris and I, we don't just listen to one type of music, and
right.
It would be cool to be a label that's like specialty and curates to a certain style or genre. Those labels are awesome, but we just don't listen to music that way.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And like, I also love synth music as well, but it's like mine is like surface deep, where I'm like, of course I know Duran Duran, like, and then like I'll go to a DJ night that Mike is doing, and it's like I haven't heard like a tenth of the fucking songs that he's playing, because he's it's like they're deep cuts from bands that I know the hits of, but he knows it all.
Yeah.
I have to be called a music snob.
What are so do you DJ too, Chris?
I DJ'd once with Mike.
He's DJ'd.
I've done it once.
He brought like Modest Mouse and Jimmy Cliff. That was it.
Hell yeah!
I played them both.
Do you guys? So Mike, do you use like actual vinyl when you're DJing?
Yeah. So I would DJ the Work Wife release show this past Friday, and I left my house and forgot all of my records, and so I had to pick all of Chris's. So it was actually kind of fun picking his stuff and like trying to curate the vibe out of a collection that wasn't mine.
Ooh,
it was a little all over the
challenge.
Place. Yeah.
What were some of the crazier or more?
That's for sure. I think right before they played, I dropped "Take It Easy."
Ooh, yeah,
pretty sick. The really only downside was when I played "Sweet Leaf" by Black Sabbath, and it skipped like crazy, and it was like mixed so quiet and super staticky Everyone's
Yeah,
like looking over at me like,
I think that was a well played record at one point.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
Yep.
like-
sounds like ass.
Do you have a DJ name, Mike?
No, I just basically do it under the label name.
Mm.
And me
I
and
like
my
it.
buddy, who we're in a band with, Suburban Living, we do like a monthly called Suburban Losers.
Ooh,
That's pretty
I
tight.
like it.
And we're both super music snobs too, so our collections they complement each other really well. But it's always my whole thing is I try to just play stuff no one's heard, but know that it's like again like inherently enjoyable.
Right, yeah.
It's people excited, you know what I mean? It's like the hits and we pull them out sometimes, you know, when you want to get the room extra lit and whatnot. But you know, we do it for ourselves as well. It's stuff we want to listen to.
Yeah.
While we're drinking Highland.
There you go. So
I DJ'd twice. I did my old country night.
Oh, true.
Yeah. I started like an old, and it's not called old. The fuck is it called?
Outlaw.
Yeah, like outlaw. Yeah, like old outlaw country stuff. Me and my wife did it, and it was
Ooh.
supposed to be every other week, and then the pandemic kicked up. It was like when it re-spiked, and then the place I was doing it like shut down and never brought live music back ever again.
Damn.
And DMX
that-
played there too, so
Damn. R.I.P. So would you wear like a nudie suit or anything crazy for your outlaw country? Like bedazzled rhinestone, anything?
Now, if I had one, I would have, but I definitely did not.
no, that would have been
Man. Damn, yeah. I like outlaw country.
Yeah.
And like Hank Williams is from Montgomery, which is, you know, like an hour away from here, so it's big. Hank
Yeah.
He's like
Williams
the
Senior. Yeah, man.
Straight
Yeah,
up.
he had a rough life. Drank himself to death.
Yeah.
Another R.I.P. Wow. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, it's pretty much to see if you wore rhinestones while you DJ'd, Chris. What about? Would a full country album would that come out on Born Losers?
I would definitely do it for sure. It's just that it has to be the right person, you know. It's yeah. There's people that I don't know. There's a couple of artists in like recent history, that like have gotten close, in my opinion, to like doing it well. But there's like still just like there's something that feels like they're putting on a costume that I don't like.
100%.
Where I'm like, I don't know. Like this just feels like you're, like I said, you know, feels like an act and not genuine.
Yeah, shout out to the Abigails. That is like a great ass current country western band.
Abigail's. I'm gonna make a note.
Yeah, they're tight. I don't know if they're still around, but recently enough.
Yeah, like in being in Birmingham, we're like 3 hours from Nashville, so I've known some people that have been like touring musicians for some like bigger name country people, and geez, talk about toxic business is like big country bands or like big country artists.
Oh, like the Toby Keiths and all that.
Not even like that big, but just like I think it's pretty like way more cutthroat than like most.
It's insane. I mean, like the thing is, it's like the musicianship in like that world is like they have such a high standard, and like everyone's just gunning to take the next guy out. And there's like, there's a great old school country song called Nashville Cats, which is like just everyone talking about how like they've been playing since they've been babies. And it's like, the guitar players and the bass, everyone, it's just insanity. So I can imagine that, you know, if you're not ruthless, you've got no chance to get the job.
Yeah, yeah.
John only had one drummer his entire career.
Impressive.
Who was that?
Johnny Cat.
Ooh.
No one knows who's drummers.
Yeah.
He's only one of them.
Is his cousin Stevie Cash, I believe? Or no. But yeah, do you guys, how much input do y'all have if somebody gives y'all a release? Do you guys say like, this sounds, could you guys mix this again or whatever? You know, do you guys give notes to bands?
I don't think we would ever do that unless we were specifically asked for input, which has happened in the past. A lot of times I'll find myself working on artwork and videos with the artist. So it's cool to have that input. And a lot of times people come with a fully fleshed concept and idea, and that's always really exciting too. But I mean, we'll definitely put our input on singles. A lot of times I know, especially being in bands, pretty much your most recent song you've created is the one you're most excited about, but it's not always the single.
Right.
So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
that outside perspective is always good
Yeah.
to piggyback off people. I guess you respect their opinion.
Yeah. A lot of times though, like the music is done, but like you were saying, like art, videos, stuff like that, like some people have it all together. Like they're just like, this is exactly what I'm going to fucking do. And I'm like, awesome. That's great. But you know, there's other people that like, they kind of somewhat feels like they've drained the well making the music. And they're like, now what do we do? Like, all right, well, let's go to the drawing board.
Yeah, but it's something we're always happy to be as involved as they're comfortable with us being.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know.
More like a curated feel that we're all like in this together, you know?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. And I'm sure the bands appreciate that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Making music so weird. And, it, you know, you don't, when somebody puts a song out, you don't know, like, has this person had the song for like 4 years and they just kind of went back to it and finished it, or like, you know, so, you know, they might hate whatever, not hate, but be like, oh God, you know, this song again.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's weird. And yeah, it's so weird. Like putting actual music out, it seems like putting music out is sometimes can be like fleeting. I don't know if that makes sense. Where it's like,
yeah. I mean, in this day and age, it's even some of the most influential blogs, like, oh shit, we got on this blog, and then 15 minutes later, it's at the bottom of the page because they posted like 20 other things.
Right. Yeah.
Which goes back to like why touring is so important, because that press cycle is
very short.
You know, you could have the best press cycle and it's gonna last no time at all. And like, you know, with the fact that everyone's, not everyone, but most artists are very like open on social media. Like interviews don't seem to matter so much with certain artists, because it's like some of the questions, like, you know, that used to be asked are already answered a million times over on their Instagram page. It's like, you know, what do you like to do? Like, I don't know. Go on his Instagram. I don't know.
Eat pizza.
Where did you record this? I could look at your Instagram. I see where you recorded it, actually.
Yeah. Do you guys ever want your bands to put on airs, like say they're on a private jet, like going to a show, when, you know, people see them on there,
like flexing for the gram and all that?
Flexing that. Yeah. I'm just joking. I'm just being silly. No, because there's the one, I don't know if y'all know the I think it was, I can't remember when it was, but anyways, Lil Bow Wow posted like a picture of a private jet, and he's like, all right, heading to Charlotte or whatever, and then somebody saw him on like a Delta flight, like the same day he posted that same picture. He's like, "Is this you?" And it's like, I didn't say I was taking the private jet. I just posted a picture of it.
Is that going to Charlotte?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. There's I don't know what the market for this is or where these things exist, but we knew someone who dated someone that like was an influencer, and like they would go on this like fake private jet to take pictures. Like,
I've heard of this. Yeah.
Like you just go on this thing, and then you do your photo shoot, and then you like you leave. There's just like a fucking
so bizarre. Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I guess this is a thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've seen that, like people rent out. It's just like a pretty much renting out like a studio, but it's like the inside of a private jet. Yeah,
that's so cool.
It's so cool. I love it.
It's yeah. I don't know. It's social media is so fucking weird and bullshitty. It's I don't know.
Yep.
But you gotta use it.
I know
to get the stuff out. Wow. Yeah, we're at like 50 minutes. I've enjoyed this. Hopefully you haven't got have you guys done podcasts before? Like
I've done a handful.
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah. Do you enjoy doing them? Do you hate doing them?
No, I enjoy it. I think it's fun. It's like I don't know. Could talk about some shit, learn some new things about other people. It's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
We did. What was that when we did the
Taste of Vinyl?
Taste of Vinyl, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. I like like you said, with the sometimes like I don't consider it an interview. I think we're just like talking, but sometimes people will ask like, so why the name Born Losers? And you guys get that question like a million times or whatever. Yeah. But yeah.
Funny story about that, actually. Chris didn't want to name the label that because he thought it was a bad omen.
Ooh.
Last right now.
Were there other names? Were there other names in the running?
No.
No, but it ended up being the logo came to us. And then we were like, all right, now we have to follow through because we both thought the smoking baby was so sick.
Pretty sick. Yeah. That's pretty sick.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a sick. Yeah. The smoking baby is pretty cool. Tough to beat.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. But yeah, do you guys have any closing words or anything anybody want to shout out? I don't know.
Not really. Just have a good New Year. If you listen to this past the New Year, then I hope you're enjoying the New Year, and check out our label. Check out our artists. We love them all. We stand behind all of it, and thank you for having us.
Hell yeah!
And, good luck with everything that you got going on in the New Year too, man.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys stay on for a minute. But you guys had options, but you decided to talk to me, and I appreciate it.
Hell yeah, sir.